Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Fred Matiangi is a man who has sent political shockwaves among the political class. And his move has changed the political direction. 2027 is not going to be the same again. He actually managed to erase the influence of Raila Amolo Odinga and William Samoei Ruto in the larger Gusii region by just holding one rally. That was a mammoth crowd. And where William Ruto and Raila are seated, they are wondering what exactly happened. Because the truth is, no one knew, no one expected that Fred Matiangi would pull such a crowd. Fred Matiangi has always been described as a manager. People have always said that Matiangi is not a politician. He's not a man who will be there, awachekeshe pale. He's a serious man. He believes in serious business. Just how he managed to pull that crowd is something that people don't understand to date. And I'm sure there are already plans to try and neutralize Fred Matiangi. And I think we need to do that video. But for now, I want us to look at the strategy that Fred Matiangi used that caught Raila, William Ruto. Both of them were caught unaware. And even in the opposition camp, that is Martha Karua, Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, that camp, they were actually shocked because they never knew that Fred would do that. He has really emerged as a very serious contender. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want us to try and look at the strategies that caught the whole of the nation unaware. Before we do this, allow me to request you to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell. This is one of the ways you support the channel. We need to grow together. Please like and share our videos. Thank you very much for your continued support. Ladies and gentlemen, you all agree that Fred Matiangi used what I call the silent strategy. You know, when the Jubilee Party endorsed Matiangi as their flag bearer in 2027, some of us challenged that move, and we were saying Fred Matiangi must come out and tell the people himself that he wants to contest. And I did a video and I was shouting that Fred Matiangi must decide to shelve off this thing about being Uhuru project, because that is what many people thought because of the Jubilee thing. But when Fred Matiangi arrived at the airport, it was very easy to organize for a large crowd, the Jubilee members and some Kisses. They would easily do that to go and welcome him, give him a resounding reception from the airport and march with him towards town. Because if he managed to do that in Gusii land, he could easily do that. There are very many Kisses and those who support him, not only Kisses, but Kenyans who believe in his political ideology. They could have gone to welcome him just to send a message to William Ruto that here I am. But what did he do? That reception was limited to when he arrived at the airport. It was limited to very close relatives, friends, and maybe the political leaders that belong to the Jubilee Party because they had endorsed him. So he decided to keep a low profile. With that, he didn't raise any suspicion, he didn't raise any eyebrows. And he took a low profile. That was a called silent strategy. Now, after he had arrived, many would have thought that Fred Matiangi, if he was not going to organize people to receive him and escort him from the airport, we thought that he would call for a press conference and give the first, shot, a warning shot that we have come and we are going to mount a campaign. We are going to begin with Gusii and Nyamira, and Ruto must prepare. Ruto is corrupt, all those kind of things. We thought he would call for that press conference just to show Ruto that here I come, get ready. But what did he do? Fred never called for any press conference. He never went for any interview. Politicians love the media. He would have requested for an interview, maybe with the KTN, those mainstream media or Citizen, just to tell people what his intentions are, the plans that he has for Kenya, maybe to highlight and tell people, I'm ready for this, I will do. He never did that. He was very quiet. This kept everyone guessing. People like Cherargai, decided to attack him, but he was very quiet. And I think that silent move worked out for him. And I'm sure that just a few people knew what he was doing. Number two, Fred Matiangi did what we call excellent secret mobilization. You know, that crowd, it was an organic crowd, no one was paid. But I understand that Fred ensured that he met every political leader, every opinion shaper in the Gusii region, former and present, leaders. And he talked to them. He wanted to understand the views of the people. He showed them what he wanted. And silently, secretly, including religious leaders, everyone who is an opinion shaper and opinion leader in the Gusii region was talked to. And when Fred knew that it was ripe, he pulled that crowd. And everyone was shocked. They endorsed him. They had already endorsed him silently. That was just to come out and show the whole world that here is Fred, he is our man. Secret mobilization. And I think he has now shown people that it is not only Raila, it is not only Ruto who can pull a crowd or Rigathi Gachagua. He has now entrenched himself as a force to reckon with. That silent mobilization strategy. It would be very embarrassing if he had appeared there and then a handful of Gusii people. You would have seen, the broad-based bloggers saying, oh, Matiangi amekataliwa hata na watu wake, but he made that resounding, entry. And even the government bloggers do not know what to say. Now, what I've heard them say, oh, the Ruaraka land, this man is a dictator. I don't know. But Fred, being a first-timer, his maiden tour, and it was huge. So that was another strategy. The other thing that Fred Okengo Matiangi did was that he left out what I may call the core principles. He appeared once in a meeting where Martha Karua had convened, and Rigathi was there, Muhisa Kitui was there, Eugene was there, Kalonzo was there, and then you remember that meeting. People expected that as he was making his maiden tour, he would call them to accompany him. But Fred didn't do that. He wanted to show the people that this is an internal affair. Hapa ni abagusi kwanza. Endorsement from my brothers and sisters. You remember how the Mount Kenya calls it modo wa nyumba. Lewis calls it odwadu. You have to start from home. Because that endorsement from home, number one, kicked out anyone who would think that he can wrestle Matiangi in that region. They endorsed him. Charity begins at home. So he didn't want to come with any other leader who might try to steal the show. So as he goes there now, he already has a backing. If he had maybe welcomed Kalonzo and all other people, they would have carried some people to go with it, and it would have left, some speculations that, he was funded by Gachagua, that rally, people ferried. He didn't want anything to do with that. So he first went there alone. That was a Matiangi rally. No one else. No one else. So that idea of leaving out all the other leaders was a sure message. And it will force Kalonzo to go and galvanize that support. Even though I know Kalonzo has got the support of the Kambas, Rigathi Gachagua is trying to control, and I believe he's controlling the Kikuyus. Raila is still controlling the Luos and on Nyanza, to speak, the Luo Nyanza. Ruto, of course, is controlling the Rift Valley. That is where people start from. So that strategy of going there alone and making sure that people like Simba Arati were there, because if you are not seen there, I believe that is the beginning of signing a political obituary. And he has changed the political landscape of the Bagusi community. Because I'm sure if he had carried along with him people like Rigathi Gachagua, they would have spoiled for him the message. Wangeendelea kusema Kaongo Kaongo aende, Ruto must go. Matiangi did not want that. He wanted a message, and his messaging was very clear, a message of hope. We know things are bad, but don't lose hope. We will walk this journey together, and that is what he wanted. Because I know, had he invited all the other leaders, Ruto must go, and then it would have spoiled, the whole party. They would have started, the bloggers would have started saying that, Matiangi lacks strategy, his only strategy or his only agenda is Ruto must go. And he went there alone. And I think Fred Matiangi scored. And he has sent every political leader back to the drawing board. Because he will be going there, as they will sit there with the other co-principals, he will be there telling them, I'm ready. And that is the reason why I believe that was a perfect match. That was a perfect maiden tour, a perfect rally. We are now waiting for Fred Matiangi to go beyond the borders. Yesterday, I did a video that was saying that there are certain hurdles or challenges ahead because he's now venturing into the four corners of Kenya. That is when the real politics will begin. Someone was telling me that, I don't believe in him. I was just saying that, and you can take this to the bank. It is not going to be very easy. Pulling a crowd, I can assure you that all the other political leaders, if you take Ruto to Rift Valley and you tell him watu wakuje, you take Raila to Luo Nyanza na mseme watu wakuje Kisumu, people will come. And that is the first endorsement. Now, going into the other regions with their political kingpins is something that is going to be a challenge. And I will give you another video of how that is still going to affect him. Ladies and gentlemen, Fred Matiangi has sent shockwaves and the strategy worked well. No shouting, and he's a real manager. Compare him to our president. Kutenga, kusema, kufanya. Remember, the Catholic leaders once told William Ruto that the government should stop advertising government projects. Let the people see what they have done. And I think that is the kind of leadership that Matiangi would want to give the people. Work and let people see. Don't shout yet people don't see what you are doing. And I understand that Matiangi is not perfect. He's got his flaws. There are things that when people look at, they say, these are weaknesses. But who is perfect? So ladies and gentlemen, what is the strategy that I've left out? Tell me, how do you think the strategy worked? And in your own opinion, what was the strategy? Because I was looking at it that way, the silent move, and then you come out at once, pop, and you surprise each and every person.